Anna Jenkins with Home Dream Realty. This is our weekly show that we do answering questions. And we're trying to actually do it on Instagram and Facebook, but it's not seeming to work very well. But so we're just going to go with it, and whatever happens, happens. And so maybe you'll be posting in. Well, of course, we love some thumbs up. We love comments and everything. And so our question this week, is have I been hacked by a hurricane? We've had crazy weather this year.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain.
I think we need to build an ark. I really do, because it's like raining every single day. There's actually, it was sunny on Saturday. Yeah. I think we can count the sunny days on like two hands. It's a little crazy.
My feet are webbed.
Yeah,
my hands are
I know. We're gonna start duck walking, everything else. But of course, we had that crazy thing with the hurricane and such. And with that, we have a lot of people that are asking about insurance claims. So what do I do here? And should I report it to insurance or not, or what? And I actually even personally had some things happen. So we're kind of going to go through that. And also, I'd like to go through maybe some ways to avoid some of these things happening too.
Yeah, and also, we can also touch base on like how to save money with insurance, besides just being, talking about damage. And because we really didn't experience true damage from Florence. Thank the Lord.
Well, mine was actually, so mine recently wasn't completely from the hurricane or anything, but it was because of all the darn rain that we had.
Right.
The ground is so soft that I had a neighbor's dead tree, fall on the garage of a house that I own. It was a rental property. Thankfully, it was the garage, but it's going to be pretty pricey. It actually, and we had posted a video about it, that type of thing too. It actually broke through the main header. Is that what it's called? The main header of the roof. Broke 4 trusses, caved the ceiling in, lights, everything else. And so it's definitely pretty extensive. Probably, going to be over, I don't know, definitely over $5,000, maybe even close to $10,000 to get this fixed when all is said and done.
The tree was large.
Yeah.
Like we're talking maybe 14, 16 inches in diameter. So it was fairly large. It was rotten and it was waterlogged.
Yeah.
So you couple that with all that, and it just became a little bullet when it penetrated the roof.
Right. And I guess in that situation, and thanks for checking in. What we're talking about today is insurance and damage from possible storms and things that we've had, what we should claim, what we should not, how to save on insurance, things like that, because we've been having questions about that. So the one thing I would say, and also kind of how to deter it, is with that house particularly, and actually with a lot of our houses, we end up cutting down a lot of trees just because they can be very dangerous and can cost a lot of money in the long run. Whether it be falling on your house or whether it be the debris and thing from the branches and the leaves and all of that with your gutters and the costliness there. But in this situation, I had actually cut down the majority of the trees around this house. But this was a neighbor's tree. And in Virginia, it doesn't matter if it's a neighbor's tree or not, you're still going to be stuck with it. So we had...
I'd like to just add comments there to be stuck with it. So that neighbor, first off, probably doesn't know that it happened.
They know it happened.
He know it happened? Okay. And then, one of the things that they look at this, the insurance companies look at this as an act of God. So they're not blaming the other neighbor. It all comes upon you and your insurance, which is kind of shocking as we were going through this process to learn that the neighbor who had a rotten tree on their property...
Who we had contacted the neighbor about this tree.
...has no culpability, which is shocking to me when you go by this and you look at it from the standpoint of, wait a minute, there should be some blame. He should have been proactive enough to cut
get this tree down.
But he didn't, and so it all falls upon us and our deductible and our responsibility for getting
it was not only mine, it was actually the neighbor next door to me too. So the way this is set up is it was the house behind both myself and the neighbor to the right of me. And so he was actually out there with a chainsaw himself, cutting this tree down and, getting it off his property and the damage that it caused to this property. So this neighbor had actually damaged 2 different properties.
Right.
Yes. So.
And I want to start off, we're going to give you some tips or life hacks for working with the insurance companies and how to deal with damage, but let's start off with the first one being have good relationships with your neighbors.
Definitely.
Know your neighbors.
Definitely.
Have their contact information, because if it wasn't for our neighbor, because we don't live in this subdivision
this was a
where this
rental.
home is, they called you and sent you a picture immediately when it occurred. So with all this rain we've been having, I jumped on the roof and put a tarp on that.
Right.
But if it wasn't for the tenant had no knowledge of this.
It was on kind of the back of the garage, so that didn't really affect the tenant. They didn't have a knowledge that there was a tree there or not at that time.
No knowledge that there was any damage whatsoever. And if it wasn't for our great relationships that we had with this neighbor and telling us, oh, there's a tree that fell down, just wanted to let you know, and here's a... Why, my goodness, the next morning, we immediately went over there and were proactive. So have great relationships with your neighbors. I guess that's the first life hack.
And I guess one thing I would want to add to that is one of the things that we do in our property management business is we have signs that say managed by Home Dream Realty and our phone number, because that other neighbors, and we put them in places where other neighbors or things can actually call us and notify us of these things just in case they do happen. But
they're about the size of a burglar alarm sign, and they are meant to be informative, and they are meant to be proactive, so that if somebody is new to the neighborhood and or doesn't know who to go to, there's that number, there's the company we can call, hey, we saw some police at your neighbor,
right,
that kind of thing.
That happen too.
We haven't gotten
all right, we're getting off track or whatever. But so what was really nice though is when this happened, I actually happened to have USAA because I'm prior military, so I called USAA. It was about 10 minutes on the phone that I did this claim. Very easy peasy. Within a couple days, they had an adjuster come out. But before that, what some of the steps that you need to do before the adjuster gets there are?
Right. It is really start with going to the property yourself. Take lots of pictures.
Lots of pictures.
Take notes of everything that was damaged, so you're prepared when you meet the adjuster. Because the adjuster is not going to know what might have been moved or what it might have been damaged or stolen or just it could have been a fire. Luckily, it was just a tree. But I'm just saying, that is, start with making notes of everything and taking pictures. And make sure you get that adjuster's contact information, because you never know when you might have to follow back up with them, like, hey, I haven't heard from you, or something like that. So start with, documenting what you're seeing, what the issues are, and all the damage you're seeing. So you prepare that list yourself, and you can be proactive to have that conversation with the adjuster when they arrive on scene.
And so how this is happening is I started, working on getting estimates right away. And I worked on getting 3 estimates. And in this situation, I had to get estimates and or the tree removed, and then a roofer. And then I'm also going to have to get a different contractor to fix the ceiling and such inside after the roofer is done. So there are kind of multiple facets. And thankfully, with the business we're in, of course, we have those contacts. So it's very easy. But the other thing is, because USAA did not require me to actually get 3 estimates. The estimates are really pretty much for my information, and it sounds like the insurance adjuster is going to put a value on this.
That's correct.
And then they're going to send me a check. But it's not that easy. Because some of the questions he did actually talk about when he was there was he talked about depreciation. For instance, this home, the garage part of this home, this was actually a detached garage. And so the garage part of this home, the roof was probably 16 to 18 years old on that. Now, it doesn't decrease the amount of money that they're going to give you for the repair. They're going to definitely make sure that it's all repaired, but it changes the way they give you the money. So what he said is, in cases of depreciated assets and in cases of depreciation, if it's like they have a formula for it. But like, let's say even numbers. If the repair was $5,000, they may decide to give $3,000 at the beginning and then hold off on that other $2,000 to complete the repair until you provide proof that the repair was done. And he said the reason that is sometimes in cases where it might be an older something or whatever, that people may not go forward with getting the repair done. And so they're kind of doing some little...
Pullback money.
Right, exactly. So they're making sure that that repair is done. They're protecting their asset to make sure that is too. So things with that.
Well, so getting back on, so once you meet the adjuster, you're obviously, he's documenting, he's writing things up, and you're doing the same, giving him information, insight in terms of the age of the roof and age of things that might have been lost. But he'll provide you a loss document, basically a proof of loss. And if it wasn't the garage, let's say it was a hurricane and you had lost power, they'll actually cut you a check for things like perishables and medicines and things like that that might have been damaged from the storm. So, luckily there was no personal property affected in this detached garage, but we're going to be having the structural issues that it's probably going to take us a good month or two,
Correct.
to get fixed. But the estimates are on its way, and we're getting them for our sanity check, and we're going to have a chance to dialogue with this adjuster once we see his report back.
So the other thing that I thought that was very interesting is when the adjuster was there, he actually, this was, like I said, a detached garage. He actually went on the main house, all sides of the roof, and he had something that he wrote on there, a formula or whatever that he has to write on there, saying that this roof was good. And realistically, the roof on the house in the garage, I actually put that on only 2 years ago. So he wrote on there that those roofs were on the house and the garage in that situation were good. So they do have to check anything and everything around the property and just make sure that everything is checked and good. So that's good. But
so how long would you say the process, the timeline is? Did he give you an expectation of when you would get some type of response back from him?
Well, so what it was is, so this happened last Monday, right? I actually met the insurance adjuster on Friday, and he was going to get his report to them pretty much by yesterday. So this all has happening pretty quickly, and I think that it will likely we'll hear from the bank within about a week. Now, he did say when
meaning the insurance company.
The USAA, I'm sorry, the insurance company. Yes, gotcha. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bank. But, and I was getting a little bit ahead of myself because he did say, like, when they send a check, that it might be that it could be in both my name and also the mortgage holder's name. And I was like, oh, great, because my mortgage holder isn't local. And I told him that. And he said, that's okay. They actually sign off on these insurance checks all the time. He was like, if you go into your local bank then to deposit it into your account, they will then contact your mortgage holder and they'll just sign off for them. And I was like, really? Okay.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like it's a check, but not really a check.
They're making sure that the work gets done and that you're not just pocketing that money.
Correct. And exactly. And so they did have some checks and balances there. But I would say all in all, this isn't going to be, the one thing that's going to take long is the actual repair and everything is what's going to take a long time. I have had the tree removed. He did say that I could go ahead and go forward with doing that. And I'm still kind of collecting a couple estimates and kind of waiting to hear back from them to see what's going on.
But in the meantime, the asset is protected. Like I said, we have a tarp on it, and when it actually is sunny outside,
the sun just came out.
We'll actually be able to get further along with some of the estimates and the truss repairs and the roof repairs and things like that. So
Gotcha.
Well, so going back to, so that's kind of like a summary of how to deal with damage. So do we want to talk a little bit about how to save money with insurance?
Sure, go ahead.
Things like that. So I get a lot of inquiries from buyers saying, hey Rick, what do you suggest when it comes to insurance? Who do you recommend? And so it is one of those things where you just need to shop around. Get 3 estimates, always get 3 estimates, and compare them. Insurance is regulated. It's kind of like a utility company. It's regulated in how they approach their business. And so getting those different, itemizations, make sure they're consistent though. You're comparing apples to apples. So That's definitely like the first step as a new buyer looking for insurance, get 3 estimates. The other thing that you might want to consider, another way to save money on your insurance, is to combine your autos with your
Most people go with their
homeowners.
auto insurance company.
And they do kind of, that's a way to save money.
Right.
They can offer a discount, things like that. Security is another one. Like if you have an alarm system, that's another way to get a discount.
You might get a
on
discount, yeah.
That. The location of the fire hydrant. That
yeah.
that plays into like how much, are you within a safe distance from that? What else do you think of that might come about, with receiving discounts and things like that?
Well, it's actually, it's kind of funny, but if you have a good credit history, you actually save on your insurance, because I guess they feel that people with good credit history are low risk for, I don't know, maybe insurance fraud. I have no idea.
And being responsible.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
an asset, being responsible
Yeah.
and things like that. Yeah, I would definitely say that could definitely play into it. It also could be, what if you're in a location that might be a higher risk. Now, what I mean by that is, and this is an easy one, Florida versus Virginia.
Yeah.
Right? If you're in a
Exactly.
high risk area of hurricanes, we're in a lower risk area, so naturally our insurance. But the common question I get, and I don't know if you get this question, is, should we get flood insurance? And what does flood insurance cover versus, say, wind insurance and things like that? Now, in our particular case, we don't have any flood insurance
We don't.
in our home.
We actually have a house on Van Buren that is in the 100-year floodplain, but we do not have flood insurance on that home. It's over by Old Mill Park, and definitely the water's been high this year, but still, I think it'd take a bit,
Right.
that it's not worth that whole risk reward. Maybe I'm not sure.
Right. But flooding can be simply like your basement flooding from, the way your property dips. It doesn't actually have to be in a flood zone. It could be just the way your topography of your lot, and it might be worthwhile to consider it. I'm not endorsing flood insurance or condoning it or anything like that. I'm just saying, it's an option that a lot of people could and should consider if they feel they want full protection. So anyway, that's just one more thing. But it is an extra cost to it. It's not included in your policies.
Yes, exactly.
So-
Well, so hopefully this has provided you with some great information about, getting your property prepared, looking for lower cost insurance, and how to deal if you have damage on your home, if you're hacked by a hurricane. So definitely give us some thumbs up. Follow us on our weekly show and give us some more questions. We love to answer them. We're passionate about real estate. Let us know if we can help you with sales, rentals, or property management. Talk to you later. Hope you have an awesome day.
Bye-bye.